Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's me again, it's deadline day. Still got a big smile plastered across my face, and why wouldn't I? Alexander Isak looks like he's all but done his medical in terms of Liverpool side of things. Looks like he'll be going to a hospital to complete the next part of it, i.e. probably the Spire Hospital in Liverpool. I think that's where they used to do them on like deadline days and stuff, so I imagine that's where he's going. Again, probably some kind of MRI scan or something, who knows, but we'll report back as soon as we do. So yeah, that's a thing. That's a British record transfer. That's 125 million plus add-ons. But while all that's been going on, obviously Harvey Elliott has been linked with a move to Aston Villa. We still want Liverpool to sign Marc Guehi, of course. It looks like that is, dare I say it, looking more likely than not. Like, if I'm going percentages, I'm going 60-40, 60% chance that he signs for Liverpool today, 40% chance that he doesn't. And I was 50-50 on that just an hour ago. Paul Joyce obviously tweeted when he talked about Harvey Elliott, and we'll get into the Harvey Elliott stuff in a second. He tweeted, Aston Villa moving on loan deal for Harvey Elliott with obligation to buy for 35 million. Guehi medical on 35 million Liverpool. Palace deal would take place in London. Optimism on it. It's a tough read, that. Joe, if we could get it back up again, that would be fantastic, and we'll try and make some sense of the second line. Guehi medical on £35 Liverpool. Palace deal would take place in London. Optimism on it. I think what we're saying here is that there's a 35 million deal been agreed with Liverpool, and a potential medical is going to take place in London, and that Liverpool are indeed optimistic on it, which was another way of saying Liverpool are confident that they can get this done. By all accounts, we heard a rumour that there was a car on its way down to London about 2 hours ago. I don't know whether that got mentioned in a show at all. And we were like, a car? Why? And then we'd also heard tied in with that there was actually going to be a medical in London, and we were like, well, why do you need to send a car to London then, if he's having his medical in London? Like, it just seems a bit nuts. Why don't you just go and pick him up and take him to his medical with an Uber or a black cab? You're in London, come on. But maybe there's people there that need to be in the room. Maybe there's doctors, maybe there's who knows what else. Maybe it's Richard Hughes. He just fancies a little jolly down the motorway on a rainy day. Loves that M6, does Richard. Absolutely loves it. So maybe he just fancied a little bit. But either way, I mean, the point of all of this is that Marc Guehi is becoming increasingly unlikely that Liverpool sign him today for 35 million quid plus a few add-ons. I must admit, this morning I thought that we'd get this one done. They're signing Igor as well, aren't they? By the looks of it, that's probably played into it. It's had a knock-on effect, unfortunately, for Joe Gomez, because we heard like an hour or two ago, didn't we, that Joe Gomez was going to be going to AC Milan and everything else, and it was all sort of agreed, but apparently Liverpool didn't give him clearance to fly over to Milan because they weren't 100% sure that Marc Guehi would be signing for them. Now, does that mean that Milan, who were supposed to have walked away, will have walked away? Or will they be waiting in the wings to try and pick up a little Joe Gomez, whisk him over to Italy and get that signed? Or is there just not enough time now to be able to get that done? I don't know what time. It used to be the different transfer window or different sort of FAs, football associations would have different times. I don't know whether Milan's is earlier. I don't know whether it's 7 o'clock. I don't know whether that's something that they've done where they've synced it all up or not. I probably could have looked into that, but I never. Is there enough time for Joe Gomez to get it sorted? I'm not sure now. But by all accounts, Arne Slot kind of wants him around anyway. I mean, you have a potential injury with Ibu Konate. I know he said it was just cramp and stuff, but there's a potential injury there. Keeping Joe Gomez around, I think, is no bad thing. And if you really want to move him on, then maybe move him on in January. It just feels like you're a little bit today, trying to get everything done, doesn't it? And that's the technical term. It's a bit Antonio, because there's just so much going on. And like Harvey Elliott, I mean, we haven't even spoken about Harvey Elliott, have we? But according to David Ornstein, Aston Villa are closing in on deadline day deal to sign Harvey Elliott from Liverpool before the transfer window closes. Villa advancing in talks over a season-long loan with an obligation to buy. Liverpool are seeking 35 million plus for the 22-year-old, which is, I don't know. I actually feel probably a little bit disappointed with that fee, to be honest with you. I think Harvey's worth a lot more than that now. I know Slot didn't play him enough last season. I think Slot admitted that himself to Harvey Elliott. I'm not sure whether it's the right move for him, but Aston Villa look to be bringing in Jadon Sancho on loan today from Manchester United, because they're not really too interested in selling players, Manchester United. I think when they sold Garnacho, was the first player they'd actually sold this window. I think that was like yesterday. Maybe it was this morning. Who knows? But yeah, so Jadon Sancho back into the loan thing because that's what works best for Manchester United. I really wanted Harvey to go to like a Dortmund or maybe replace Xavi Simons at Leipzig or whatever, because I just felt like you need someone to build a team around him. Now, is Emery going to build a team around Harvey Elliott? I'm not 100% sure, but it's a good football club with a good history. And a very good manager, and it's stable as well, isn't it? So I think maybe it will work out for Harvey, and I hope that it does, because I absolutely adore Harvey Elliott. And listen, if it's a year-long loan for 35 million quid, I suppose the knock-on effect, as it was mentioned to me before, is that, you know, it pushes it into next year's accounts. That might be a good thing. Who knows? He can't play against us this season. That's probably going to be a fairly decent thing for this season as well, especially if they do build a team around him. So as Sky Sports is saying, Aston Villa in advanced talk to sign Liverpool midfielder Harvey Elliott on loan with an obligation to buy. It's being discussed still, but it's in the region of 35 million. Elliott awaiting permission to travel for his medical, like a good boy. Sky Sports News understands there's a verbal agreement between the clubs and Elliott is waiting permission. The package discussed is 35 million. The imminent arrival of Alexander Isak has opened up a potential departure for Harvey Elliott. Yeah, and that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I feel a bit sorry for Harvey, really. It feels like it's just a pace thing with him. I think he's worked so hard. He's been involved this season already, but he's not starting games. And at some point, you know, that has to come first and foremost for Harvey and his career. So there we go. I am just trying to see now. I haven't got the comments working on here, Joe. So I don't know why that's not working. So I can't bring up any of the comments, I'm afraid. What I'll do is I will go and I will take a look at the comments old school style on the website, and if I find anything interesting, of course there'll be interesting stuff, then I will just talk through them instead, like the good old days before we brought everything up on the screen. So let's have a little goosey gander at some of these comments right now. Dun dun dun, they are loading, I promise you. When is the announcement for Isak coming? It'll be today, mate. It'll be today. Chris, are you getting Battlefield 6? I don't know what that means, so I'm assuming it's a computer game. Rue 1773. Rue 1773 disappeared. Too cheap for Harvey. 35 million does seem cheap, doesn't it? I would have thought maybe 40, 50 million quid for Harvey Elliott, especially when Garnacho goes for 45. For me, he's around about there. If Elliott's relieved, we need to add in a buyback clause. That's a great shout, actually, isn't it? A buyback clause in Harvey Elliott wouldn't be a bad shout at all. And it's something that I'm sure that Liverpool would probably push for because he's so young. So yeah, I think Liverpool would do that. 50 million for Harvey, aye, sure. Okay, you think that's too much? Okay, fair enough. Chris, says Cam, opinions on Isak not holding up his contract and going on strike. There's a really, really interesting one for me because I think it's not something that you want to see a player do, but I do feel like he's probably been it's probably been made of this with Isak because of it being Liverpool and Newcastle, two massive clubs in England, or one massive club in England, and Newcastle United. I think, and it's all guesswork, you know, nobody knows here, but it comes across to me like he genuinely thought that he was going to be allowed to leave, and he was pissed off that he wasn't. That's kind of what it comes across like to me, and I'm just a bit like, well, if that's the case, and Eddie Howe basically said he did have conversations with him, he didn't say what was in those conversations, and if you're telling me it was a previous owner, previous regime, whatever, when someone's in charge of a football club, that goes across regimes for me, and if somebody else comes in and says something different, then that's fine. But if nobody says anything, then you would just naturally assume that that's the same thing was said is right. So yeah, I don't particularly like it, but I do think there is extenuating circumstances in this one. I do love the fact that there was a lot of people saying like, oh, when it was Trent Alexander-Arnold, it was all like, just let him live his life, man. Just let him live his life. He just wants to go to Real Madrid. Why are you so angry? Now it's like, Isak, what are you doing trying to leave Newcastle? Goodness me. You should stay there forever. What about the lads who were just like, just let him live his life, man? You know what I mean? Just let him live his life. Comes around and bites you on the ass pretty quickly, doesn't it? Shut up your face, Alan Shearer. So there we go. So there, yeah, you've just tuned in, and Elliott is really going to Aston Villa by the looks of things, and that is obviously if Liverpool do get the deal done for Alexander Isak. We'll be back shortly with any more breaking news. I think it's Paul up next. We're doing it in a rotation today. It's me, it's Paul, it's Chloe. It's me, it's Paul, it's Chloe. It's me, it's Paul, it's Chloe. And we're just going to keep doing it like that all day because it's more fun that way. And, you know, you won't miss a thing. So stick with us all day. YouTube.com/the Redmen TV, as you already know, because you're here. So yeah, thank you very much. And we'll see you all soon. Ta-ra.